Hello, this is Curtis from Beyond Backtesting. Today we're going to be talking about trading tryouts. Are trading tryouts a scam? Who should be taking them? Who should not be taking them? It's all my opinion. That's not investment advice. We're going to start this one moment. Futures trading is risky. All the standard disclaimers apply. So, trading tryouts, right? Who should be taking them? Are they a scam? Who are they for? Right? And if you're not familiar with these programs, these are programs you pay. You pay a certain amount per month, $150, $250 per month to trade on a CM, which is reportedly like a $50 or $100,000 account. So first, and this is why I originally had a big beef with the whole thing, is this: it's not 50,000 or 100,000. Where do they even get that? I said it's made up, and obviously they got a lot of affiliate programs and stuff, and they didn't like that when I said that on the forums. But you can go to AMP Trading, right? And you can trade $500 a contract for the E-mini, right? And so chain contracts is $5,000. If you may need 10,000 for your stops and targets and stuff working. Okay, so 10,000 you usually get like a $2,500 drawdown. So what's that? That's a $12,000 $500 account with a $2,500 risk limit, right? That's the reality. That's your your typical $50,000 account. It's not a $50,000 account. So that's one thing it is misleading about these, and that's well known. Anybody knows trading knows that. So where they get this, I don't know. But are they, who should be taking them? Are they a scam? What's my thought on that, right? So first, you have to look at all the rules. And some of these programs have so many rules that are just designed to fail you that it's not. If you see pages and pages of rules, and don't even bother with it, don't do it. So the only one I found, or the primary one I found that doesn't have a lot of rules, is Apex Trader Funding. Okay, out of all the ones I've seen, this is the first one I've actually started to say I may try this, because the only rule they have is a trailing drawdown. Now I did take one other one, and I'm not going to mention the name of it. This firm claimed to be trying to build a futures trading floor, and they claimed to be looking for great traders. So that was kind of the sales pitch. I said, well, a futures trading floor, that's something different than these other scammy tryout companies. Let me try that, right? Well, my experience with them, this was many years ago, but my experience was that I passed the profit objective, and I went to get my funding, and they said, hey, look, you went over the risk limit one day. It didn't stop me from trading. It was like $12 because it was over the fees. I wasn't over before the fees, but after the fees, and the program didn't flag me. I had talked to their head prop trader before about a similar incident. He said, don't worry about it. If the program allows you to trade, just keep trading. Don't worry about it. That was what I thought he said. I brought it up to him. I said, look, I passed. They said, no, you haven't passed. You actually, and that was weeks ago that I hit the risk limit. And they said, what we'll do is you pay to reset it. You keep half your profits, right? To me, that was their mistake because the program didn't flag me from trading, didn't tell me. I just assumed that I was able to trade. I thought that was unfair. I went and paid to reset it. And they also said, look, if you reset this, we want you to continue to trade aggressively. We're not going to just allow you to scalp out a couple of days. I exceeded the profit target again. Exceeded the profit objective. Was trading very aggressively. After a couple of days after exceeding the profit objective, continued to trade aggressively as they claimed want me to do, and eventually I made a mistake and I lost legitimately. They never contacted me and said, look, you passed twice. That shows a little bit of promise. They never contacted me. Were they really looking for traders? I doubt it. To me, that wasn't a very good experience. If I passed the funding, I expected that maybe they would have said, hey, look, you passed, you met the profit objective. And then I just was done with them. I said, I'm not doing any of these again until Apex came out. And because I looked at Apex, and they have very good rates with their discounts, and they don't have many rules. So it's really simple. So it's like a $2,500 loss limit and a $3,000 target. You'd have a trailing drawdown. Now, I'm going to talk about who this is. This is my opinion, right? I think Apex is right now probably one of the most upfront, honest. If you see a bunch of rules, these programs have a bunch of, don't even bother with it. If you see more than one or two rules, it's not. I'm just saying that's not something you want to be involved in. So I'm going to the guidance I'm going to give is a little contrary. I'm going to say if you do not have the money to trade, if you don't have capital to trade of your own, do not take these programs. Okay? Now, this is maybe a little counterintuitive, but the reality is, right, you can trade, and if you need about $7,000 to $12,000 to trade futures. Okay, this is the minimum amount. I started with about a $7,000 account in 2009. I doubled it, and I traded for about a year on it until I started doing crazy stuff, and I ended up having a drawdown. And long story, but I was able to actually trade that. Now again, I thought I did really well and all, but this is about what you need. If you have less than 7,000, you're at a huge disadvantage when it comes to minis. Then the macros are a game changer because they're 1/10 the size. So really, you could trade macros on pretty much on anything, right? You pretty much on $1,000. But we're not talking about macros. Then you need about this much to trade futures. Now you're probably going to lose anyway, right? And I feel like if you get to 25,000, 25K, you probably have a little better chance, but you're still probably going to lose because most futures traders lose. I'm just putting it out there as it really is. So how do we treat these programs then? Today I have the capital to trade. I have ample, sufficient, more than enough capital to trade. Some of that's in my trading profits, right, and income of various means. So if you don't have the capital to trade of your own, I'm going to say you should save until you have $7,000. Then consider it. Okay, and why do I say that? First, having a savings is very valuable. You can trade on the simulator. You don't have to pay to trade on the simulator. It's just it's just a benefit. It's just another option. So if you don't have the $7,000 saved up, if you don't have even $7,000 in savings, then you probably should have build that savings up as just an entry guard before doing something that like trading anyway. Now, once you have the $7,000, if you have $7,000, right, then you may want to consider it if your income allows for it, right? And here's what I'm going to say on this, right? So, are they? Reality is, most professionals cannot pass these programs. Most of your professional traders, let me repeat this, could not pass these programs. Not on the first try. Many not on the second try or a third try. So is that fair? I mean, this is just the thing. But the reality is this. This is the second reality. The other reality is if, I'm going to give you an example. If I were to give you, if I were to allow you to trade in the simulator, let me just say this. If I were to allow, and I'm not going to do this, I'm not saying I am going to do this, but if I were to give 1,000 traders and say, look, you can trade on the simulator, no risk of your money. You got $2,500 drawdown, right? I know I want to make it trailing. It's just a fixed 2,500. It's fixed from your starting point, right? If you're up 2,500, just break even, right? Make it such as this, right? You have a $600 daily loss limit, right? $600 to $1,200 daily loss limit. No trades held overnight, right? And a few rules to keep somebody from loading up on a one trade and trying to let it run. If I were to say, look, so basically, if you're up to 4,000 on a trade, you got to shut it down. You got to close it, right? And close it down for the day. The rule something like this. You could give 1,000 traders this and say, look, trade for free. There's no reset fees. You get one reset per day, right? One account per trader, right? No trade multiple accounts. And one thing about Apex I do like is you can trade multiple accounts. Just a few rules to prevent cheating. And I'd say, hey, look, you keep all the money you make. There's one catch. No withdrawals until you've cleared $100,000. I could literally, you could actually give this to 1,000 traders. Give them 6 months to do this. You probably wouldn't have to pay out the $100,000. It might be one or two traders, exceptional traders. I have 1,000 traders who could do this. Most traders would not be able to do this because why? Most traders are not consistent, right? They're not going to be able to get that account to $100,000. They're going to have to reset it. And especially if you make it to where they can't have, say, more than $1,000 on a trade. There is a potential you could load up on one big trade and make $20,000 or something. But make it where you can't. Okay, you get up to 1,000 on a trade, close it down. where we have to actually trade. Of course, you have to trade. You got to pay your realistic trading costs. And the reason that most traders couldn't do this, and you wouldn't have to pay 100,000, is because very few traders are that consistent. You have to be consistent to do this. So the odds are very much stacked against you on this type of a thing. Most systems, I've found, need about $7,000 to run, to operate. You should expect 12 losing trades over a long period of time, or losing days. So you look at $2,500. You divide that by 12. The math don't work out very well. So you have to be on point. You may divide that by 4. We'll take the loss limit, right? So you want 4 days, 3 or 4 days. You divide that by 4, and then also if you're up on the trade, they take it from your max point that you were up. So really, you can't. If you're up more than like $500 and trade comes back against you, you can't let trades run. That's how that trailing drawdown works. So really, it's like, okay, you're really like 2,000 to make 3,000. It's not. The rules are not too crazy much against you, but there's certainly things you need to be aware of with a trailing drawdown and how that works, and they go over that. So if you're going to do it, I'm going to say first, you have to have if you're just going to be profitable as a trader, you probably shouldn't do this because you don't need to do this. You can save your money up, save up the money you put into it, and have a 7,000. Have an account worth a small account within 6 months to a year. This is the type of thing. This is the way I'm treating it. I've had to reset many times on this Apex, more than I should. Probably should have. But the way I look at it is this: I'm going to pay a certain amount per month. Okay, there's like a desk fee, right? And if you're going to trade professionally, there's always been desk fees, and so these desk fees are usually in the past like $500 a month. And I'm going to do that for, say, 6 months to see if this is possible. Okay. And if you think about it, that means I'm paying out $3,000 for a $2,000 account, right? Minimum. Well, not minimum, but that's what it comes up to be. So you're paying out about $3,000. So does that make sense? If you look at it in that way, you say, well, it doesn't make sense. You're paying out more than you're getting back. But if you look at it like, hey, I want to be able to grow. I don't want to just trade profitably. I don't want to just be able to go in there and make a little bit of money. I want to become a 10 or 20 lot trader. Then there's an objective to this, right? If I want to become a big trader, then I'm going to have to pay something for it. So that's who I think it's for. It's for a trader who has capital, right, of your own, right? Okay, and why is that important? The other thing is you do the 6 months of work. If I do the 6 months of work and the rules are too restrictive, which they may be. Like, again, most professionals couldn't trade under those rules. I have plenty of capital to trade however I want to trade. And when you have more capital, that's a good thing, but it also is bigger risk. The reality is, if I had additional $3,000 of capital to trade with, it wouldn't make any difference in my ability to trade with where I'm at now. It would not make any, having $3,000 or $4,000 or $5,000 where I'm at would not allow me to trade, would not change how I could trade. Okay. So from my perspective, right, on the other hand, if I make mistakes, the mistakes can be very costly. So that's how I look at it for myself. So I would say this: here's your heuristics if you should consider those programs. And again, I think Apex is the best. I don't have any affiliation with them. Maybe an affiliate program in the future. I don't now, and that may change. Right? Just stay aware and be aware of the programs. There's other programs out there, but here would be my heuristics of who should do this. One, if you don't have $7,000 in savings, save your money. Okay, you don't have to pay to train a simulator. Okay. Go ahead and save your money so you can have an account, right? And that will be good. That will serve you in many ways, right? If you have if you have 7,000 and you just want to trade, you want to trade, make a little money, trade your own money, okay? if you feel like it's a scam, right? If you feel like paying $3,000 to make $2,500 to get $2,500 is a scam, don't do it, because the reality is you're not going to pass. The odds are you're not going to pass in the first month. You might pass in the second month. You might pass in the third month. You might pass in the fourth month. The chances of you passing in such a way that you actually get more more than you pay in is, at best 50-50. And that's if you're disciplined and things go well. So if you feel like a scam, don't do it, right? If you're not willing to commit, say $3,000 to do this, don't do it, because you're most likely not going to pass, right? If you want to become a large contract trader and you think this is the way that would allow you to do that, that's where you want to think about it. If you want to become a large contract trader, futures trader, if you see, okay, if I could trade this many contracts in this way, I could do this. That's who I think this is for, right? And it's not really about the money as much as about developing as a trader. You have your own capital, so you have a ability to basically, you have more outs to win, so to speak. If you do the 6 months, you can go different directions. That's what I think this is who this is for, and that's just my opinion, right? If the other consideration is maybe you do very well in the simulator and you don't think you can trade under real pressure, maybe that's for you. But this is the way I look at it. But you go ahead and commit. Go ahead and determine how much you're going to pay. And what I previously thought about, this is new. What I previously thought about is, look, if I'm getting $3,000 of funding, I'm not going to put in more than $1,500 into the program, right? If I can't do it with that, then why would I continue to pay? But that's the thing about the money aspect. But if you're really thinking about developing as a trader, then you're looking at it a little different way, right? You're looking at it, where am I trying to get as a trader, and the goal. And understand that it's a very specialized, really, the way I look at it, to pass these programs, you really have to be a scalper. And among all the trading methodologies, the scalping is the most difficult. And, that's where these programs tend to work well. And it's very difficult for most traders to do that. It's a very specialized skill. It's not just about picking the direction on the day or understanding the structure. You really have to be able to get in and find very good risk reward trades, and very high probability trades too. So that's my thoughts on it. Again, you may have different thoughts, and that's fine too. But but that's how I'm currently thinking about it. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm just thinking about it the wrong way. But I've kind of looked at it like I'm going to pay a desk fee for a certain number of months to see how much I can develop as a trader, right? Knowing that I have the capital to trade, knowing that it's not going to make any difference in my ability to trade or do what I need to do to make a living. That's how I treat it. If I didn't have the money to trade, the rules are so restrictive, I would just save my money or trade on the macros. But if you want to become a 10 contract trader, that's a whole different matter. Maybe it's worth it. Maybe it's not. Let me know what you think. Is my thinking, does it make sense to anybody? That's how I'm treating it. But now let's go about it if you do want to trade, right? Let's talk about resets. And I did resets wrong to begin with. If you're going to do resets, I say one reset, no resets same day, right? If you're going to do it and have a daily, monthly, have a monthly budget, okay? I suggest trading 2 accounts. That way you're not as tempted to keep trading in one account, right? That's how I look at it. This is how I'm looking at it. This is how I'm doing it. And no regrets, right? Because when I look and say, okay, well, I could have had more money, just not doing anything, just from the simulator. Well, you have to pick a path and do it when you're trading. So I'm like, this is what I decided to do. Um, you know, I told you that story about how I got funded, and with the prior prop firm. The week after that, I took a $7,000 account, and I went live. I was not in the best set of mind because I'd been failed, and I had the money then to trade, and I traded very aggressively, and I lost a lot of money very quickly because I don't know if the market just changed or whatever. But so you can, either way, you can make or lose money. So there's no guarantees of anything. It is very low risk, and it's a way to get some experience. Potentially build up to do it. To trading a large amount of money. So that's how I'm looking at it. I would say if you're going to do it, though, let's say if you're going to do it, first you need a savings. Okay, you gotta have a savings, right? You gotta have a savings account. Okay, then second, you need rules, right? You make the rules up. You follow your rules. You make your rules whatever you want them to be, right? You can trade aggressively. As for the optimal way of trading it, I almost feel like trading very aggressively the first half, and then trading more conservatively might be the optimal way. I don't know, but I would say nobody sets the same day. Set your monthly budget. Suggest trading 2 accounts. That way you're not and don't have regrets. Like, you go ahead and commit. Take the money, put it aside, and say, look, I'm spending this money to do this, because the reality is you probably will. And then also have a timeline to failure, right? The reality is most professionals cannot pass these accounts. And if they do pass, they're not going to be able to build them up. So understand that, right? Is that a lot of professional day traders are the type of traders who make 50% a year, right? That's not the type of trader. And I did that before in various simulated accounts and various tracked accounts. But that's not the type of trader that's going to be able to trade for a living, right? You have to be that trader who could actually win that $100,000 at the end. And the reality is, if I gave you these same rules and said just try to make $100,000, no fees, no nothing, out of that, I would say out of 100 traders, you might have 1 trader who could do it. If you just allow them to reset every day, look, you everything you make yours, but you don't get any withdrawals until you make 100,000. How many traders do you think could actually do it? What if it was 1 million? Well, what if it was 1 million? If it was 1 million, I don't know. I don't know who could do it, right? There's very few people can be that consistent to trade and build up to $1 million account. So if you said, look, be an interesting type of experiment to try, but so understand that basically what you do once you get funded to get the money to really earn the $100,000 or the account, that you're going to have to be able to trade that consistently. So that's it.